I'm here on a job site with Tim, who owns his own electrical contracting business.
3 employees and 2 work trucks.
Tim traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance. We're positively here where he needs us most.
They sure are.
With step-by-step help on all his insurance needs, all for shockingly low rates.
Shockingly low, huh?
Just a little bit of electrician humour. Do you get it?
I got it.
You know, it feels like we have a real connection. All right, I'll stop.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
Coming up on this episode of the Mario Rosenstock podcast.
I met a lovely woman. You'll love this, Mario. Quite an older lady, and she came to the gig then while all this was going on. And she said to me, I have a bag as well. And I said, oh, well done, how's it going? And she goes, well, when I was getting the surgery, the surgeon leaned over and said, now, when you wake up, you're going to have a colostomy bag. How do you feel? Just before he put her under. So I thought it was a lovely thing to do. And she said, I took a moment and I said to him, well, if it's good enough for Brian Kennedy, it's good enough for me.
Oh, that's a brilliant thing to take away.
I just thought to myself, wow.
As part of my work for Gift Grub, I have to watch Dancing with the Stars for 2 hours every week. I wasn't previously a massive fan of it, but actually now in these dark days of all the sort of darkness politically around the world, it is a good little vehicle to switch off to. It's light, it's fluffy, it's family entertainment, it's full of colour, and it just is kind of, it's silly and it's fun. And it's really nice to switch off. But recently I'm watching an episode of Dancing with the Stars. I noticed the singer Brian Kennedy on the show. And I don't know, for some reason, maybe it's my age, maybe it's just having gotten a little bit older and realising how important, your health and in your life is. And just seeing how stricken he was with bad health down through the years, in the last 10 years specifically. And I watched him dance on a live show with a colostomy bag and a urostomy bag, and on live TV, completely out of his comfort zone, and doing it with this and not mentioning it really, getting on with it, just showing what I would call true resilience. And maybe 10 years ago I wouldn't have remarked about it, but I just thought it was quite extraordinary. One of those, just a person getting on with their life, but under exceedingly difficult, awkward, potentially embarrassing circumstances. And he just went through it and didn't make a fuss and just got on with it. And it was the not making a fuss that I think that made it register with me so much. And that's why I asked Patrick, our producer, if he'd ask Brian to come on the podcast and talk to me generally about that and about everything in his life. Because he's had an incredible life story, raised on the Falls Road in Belfast at the height of the Troubles. Brian had a difficult, even traumatic childhood. But he went on to forge a hugely successful music career, performing in Madison Square Gardens with legends like Van Morrison. He's represented Ireland at the Eurovision. He sang at George Best's funeral and was a coach on The Voice of Ireland. Brian's also very naughty, mischievous storyteller. He's got a really dark sense of humour, as I've noticed a lot of people from Belfast have, and for obvious reasons. They have a wicked sense of humour. And Brian is just great fun to be around. And we stayed chatting after the podcast, after the microphones went off. We stayed chatting for 15, 20 minutes about all sorts of stuff that I can't go into right here. But listen, you're about to hear a really, really good chat between somebody, me, who admires this person for the way he's been getting on with his life in the face of very, very adverse circumstances for so long.
I'd started to stagger at this point, and I got up to the window and I just said, there's something wrong with my chest, I don't know what. They got me in, they got me hooked up quite quickly, and then she just suddenly closed the curtains and came back and said, you're having a massive heart attack. And then that changed everything. It was like a sliding doors moment. That next day I woke up in ICU. And it was a lovely, I think he was maybe from the Philippines, and he goes, oh, Brian, Eurovision, right? And this woman was kind of down for me a bit. She goes, why does he keep saying that you're a vision? Look at the state of us. I was going, no, he means the Eurovision.
You're not a vision.
I'm not a vision. I know I'm not a vision. I mean, can you imagine this happening to you? He goes, what's the first few lines of your biography? I just went, oh, Jesus, okay. And I said, well, the first couple of lines are, the first time I ever saw the word singer was on my mother's sewing machine. And he goes, that's really good.
It is good.
Seamus Heaney.
Yeah.
Extraordinary.
My full chat with Brian Kennedy coming right up. But last week's podcast with Owen McGee, Owen was doing the rounds, giving financial advice to everybody with his new book. And of course, it stimulated the Mario Rosenstock hotlines to start flowing with financial advice from various luminaries from the world of politics and even, high finance itself. Bertie Ahern. Well, over the years as Minister for Finance and whatnot, I built up a wealth of financial wisdom, which I then used to form a solid strategy for achieving monetary independence for myself. It was built around two core principles. Now, this could get quite technical, so bear with me. Those principles were one, dig outs, and two, flutters. So the dig out aspect of it, the lads would organise a foot-brown for me in Fagan's or the Cat and Cage or over in Home Farm, the bar over there, and I'd put that then on the 3-1 on favourite in Chepstow or Hackney or Walthamstow. And hey presto, financial independence. Now I had to do a little explaining around that in a yoke a few years later, but it's absolutely kosher. Former President Michael D. Higgins.
How does one achieve financial independence? Yes, I recommend securing long-term employment that comes, for example, with a large mansion, several staff, a driver, an aide-de-camp, and free food. You don't have to put your hand in your pocket at all for up to 14 years. And so, when you wrap things up, you've got a Henry the Hippo-sized account stuffed with cash for splurging on poetry books and flights to the Guggenheim and the like.
Donald J. Trump.
It's easy. You get a lot of people to do some very hard, very high-value work for you, then you refuse to pay them. Simply don't pay them. I won't get into the nitty-gritty of the details. It's too complex. But ultimately, what that means is that money that should be in their account does not leave your account, ever. And so the transactional balance stays in your favor. You win, they lose. Everyone's happy. Well, everyone that matters.
Okay, so exclusive comedy every week on the Mario Rosenstock podcast. And you can contact me, of course, for anything. MarioRosenstock@gmail.com. You can contact me to tell me what you think of the podcast, suggestions for guests for the podcast, suggestions for sketches, suggestions for new characters if you think that there's a character out there that I'm missing and that you'd like to see me do on the radio. I'm live on stage in the Mullingar Arts Centre on the 21st of February, and live in the Black Box in Galway on the 28th of February, 7th of March in Lime Tree Theatre in Limerick, and I think it's the 17th of April in Dean Crow Theatre in Athlone. The first three are almost sold out. Actually, the first one is sold out. The second two are almost sold out, Galway and Limerick. But please get a ticket if you'd like to come and see me live. I believe, I guarantee you will not regret your decision. So let's cross over to the GoLoud studio, where the talented, funny and seriously mischievous Brian Kennedy is ready and waiting to talk to me. Enjoy. So, Brian, I used to not really watch Dancing with the Stars.
Okay.
You're kind of committing 2 hours of your life on a Sunday.
It is.
But then I started doing impressions of the judges on
Oh,
Dancing
brilliant.
with the Stars, right? So then I'd have to
Who
watch.
are you good at?
So I imagined that Brian Redmond, I see him as a kind of a trade union guy.
Yes.
So it's like, no, under the regulatory capacity of the immunity and the facilitatory demonstrations that you are done very well. But I would say, let me start by saying this, all that sort of stuff. And then Karen Byrne came and it was like, like it? I love it. Give over.
I love her. She's so
Give
brilliant.
over.
Yeah.
Go on out with
Stay
it.
of you.
Oh, Philip, them hip thrusts. You're staying. Brian, go away with
The
it.
hairs on me arm stood up, they did.
She is a catchphrase machine.
I love her.
From inner city Dublin.
Yeah, she is.
And then Arthur, who won't stop screaming.
I know. Oh, God, love him. And it takes you a minute to go, what did you just say, Arthur?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, got it.
And why do you go from 0? He's like a car that goes from 0 to 80 without any reason.
He is. Well, he's just...
Do you know what I love about you? Sorry, did you have a fit?
Well, what you've just described is three very definite formats there, you know what I mean? And then, of course, we had, OT. Nobody could take their eyes off OT.
Yeah.
Especially the gay men. all backstage going, look at Otis, she's gorgeous.
Yeah?
Oh my God. She's such a beautiful woman.
Okay.
Up close.
So she radiates beauty.
Good God. She's just an Amazonian queen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, that's bringing.
So you watched Dancing with the
That's why I
Stars.
watch it. And now I'm kind of.
Okay.
Now I'm kind of into it. And the reason I'm into it is because there's less and less nowadays that you can call on TV.
Yeah.
Switch off family telly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And as a person who is consumed by politics and Trump and the darkness and the negativity and Irish politics and then UK politics,
Yeah.
this is an escape. And it's a welcome.
I think I said it one of the weeks. I just said the same thing. When I was look, if all we do is get people, whatever version of family you have, gathered around the TV, you've all got your snacks and your thing, and you can all just drop your shoulders for a couple of hours. Then job done.
And it's bright and colourful.
Yeah,
I mean literally.
And so
I'm an
much
adult. I'm in my 50s, but literally watching bright colours on TV.
I have blue hair one week.
It's still
completely blue hair.
Fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It is great. And I mean, I didn't know who Paddy was. In fact, I made a kind of a funny mistake because I'd never seen those programs. So when they said that he'd spent 30 years in the prison service, I thought he'd committed a crime. Right? So I was like, so I said to him one day, so did you murder somebody? Like, what happened? And he was
But not only this poor old Brian Kennedy, he's like, he spent 30 years in the prison service, but he also spent like a whole year as a traitor.
Yeah.
What the fuck is a traitor?
Exactly right. And I was thinking, and I remember when Brian was saying to me about it, he didn't think I did a march very well. And I was like, Brian, I grew up in West Belfast. Do you think I don't know what a march looks like? Are you mental? But, it was such, I loved it. It was such fun.
Yeah, well,
sorry to go. 3 weeks later.
Yeah, and so so then you left and Dancing with the
Well, I
Stars.
didn't leave. I was voted out.
You were voted out.
Let's tell the truth.
And and then I got on to my producer, Patrick, and I went, I've had to watch Dancing with the Stars, but I kind of now like it now.
Yeah. Would you do it?
I would not.
Why?
It's not my style. I think you can work it out if you're up for that or not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm not up for it.
I was absolutely... It was good timing this time. They asked me one time before, and I couldn't because January was always so busy for me at weekends. But this time it was just a different story. And I thought, I'm actually ready now because like I said on the programme, I had to get a letter from cardiology to say I wouldn't drop dead. I had to get blessings from all kinds of, medical people. And I did. So it was worth it even for just doing that, to go do a stress test. The most stressful thing about a stress test, I will tell you, Mario, is trying to get a stress test. That is the most stressful part of it. But then you get it, and I've just knocked it out of the park. Okay. It was all good.
So let me tell you why then. So I rang Patrick and I said, try and ask Brian if he'll come on. Yeah. And he went, of course, yeah, why? I mean, you've talked to him before.
Yeah.
And I went,
is there anything else to know about that man?
Yeah, I know everything about you. That's kind of...
You think you do?
No, on your public sort of, Wikipedia level sort of stuff.
Wikipedia, I call it.
I know your rough back history. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Brian, I have to say, I was really kind of taken, and I was taken by your sheer, what I would just call normal, everyday fucking human bravery. Everybody was just treating you like a normal contestant, and you were.
Yeah.
And I was going, he's not a normal contestant.
I know.
This is completely bananas. This is live television.
Yeah.
And just to my listeners, we can go into this, but... This is live television. This is a man who recovered from very, very serious cancer.
Yeah.
Was not able to walk. Then he had a massive cardiac arrest, a heart attack. Then he had a quadruple bypass.
Yeah.
This person has had, like, his brother Bap died of also cancer in 2016, around the time he was diagnosed with cancer.
Same time, exactly.
And you are, and then... Really, most touchingly of all, you were wearing a colostomy bag
and a urostomy bag, 2 bags,
while dancing on live television.
Yes. Not only that, there was one night towards the end where we literally had about 3 minutes to go to air live, and suddenly my urostomy bag filled up with pee. So I had to find a cup backstage.
May I ask you, sorry, a gross question here? When it fills up with pee, is that you deliberately peeing?
No, you've no control at all.
Oh my God!
No control over poo or pee.
Oh, God.
They take all that power away from you.
That's a surprise of you.
I'm peeing right now.
I am as well, but I have no bag.
Exactly. There's a silver lining to every story. No, it just has it's a muscle that works on its own. So at some point I'll go, oh, that's kind of half full. I might do something with that.
Brian, this is all sorts of madness.
It's madness. So but
it's all sorts of madness. Let me explain what I mean by madness.
Go on.
Jump in. It's madness because you are Brian Kennedy. You are a performer.
Yes.
You are in a business which is notoriously narcissistic and vain.
Yeah.
Concerned with their appearance. They appear on television all the time. They are public people, and you have made it public about the colostomy bag. And I was just going, this is fucking messing my head in a really good way. And I just was blown away by you. And you know, okay, I'm 55 years of age.
Yeah.
And it's funny kind of things that make you slightly emotional. And I became slightly emotional watching you. Just watching you being normal.
It's funny
watching
that
you being
that.
ordinary.
I felt very
watching
emotional.
you being resilient.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fucking amazing.
Well, see, I'm not too aware of that because when you're in the middle of the dancing, you just really are, okay, now don't mess this up and get the steps right. We've been rehearsing 4 hours every day, so I don't want to let James down, I don't let myself down. I'm aware it's live TV. Cameras don't faze me at all, thank God. The live audience is the best part about it because you rehearse on your own. And then all of a sudden, you're out there doing it for real in front of loads of people live. So it's like a gig and a live TV broadcast in the same breath. And as you say, I just give them a wee tap and go, oh, is everybody okay down there? Yeah, great. But there was one week, like I said, the thing just filled up.
What happens then?
I found a cup backstage. I quickly got James, my pro dancer, to hold it. I whipped the bag out, filled the cup up nearly to the top with pee.
Your partner,
Clipped it back again. I said,
play.
James, you're about to just see something now that you've probably never seen before.
Yeah.
And then we put the cup over somewhere safely. Hopefully nobody thought, oh, there's a lovely big glass of water there. I'll have that.
Wine.
Yeah, wine. Because it was kind of yellow. That's right. And then we literally were like, okay, 1 minute to go. And then we were on.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to happen from all of that was to say to people down the lens, look what I'm doing. If you've got a colostomy bag, or two in my case, or something going on with you.
That's what I'm taking from it. It's
you know what I mean?
completely inspiring.
Get on with it.
It's real resilience.
Yeah.
It's real resilience. It's real bravery.
Yeah.
It's
I met a
real-
lovely woman. You'll love this, Mario. Quite an older lady, and she came to the gig then while all this was going on, and she said to me, "I have a bag as well." And I said, oh, "Well done. How's it going?" And she goes, "Well, when I was getting the surgery, the surgeon leaned over and said, 'Now, when you wake up, you're going to have a colostomy bag. How do you feel?' Just before we put her under." So I thought it was a lovely thing to do. And she said, I took a moment, and I said to him, "Well, if it's good enough for Brian Kennedy, it's good enough for me."
Oh, that's a brilliant thing to take away.
I just thought to myself, "Wow."
Yeah.
I couldn't believe I would have that impact on somebody.
So a corollary to that is
Yeah.
knowing this information about you, seeing it on live television, and seeing you dealing with it in such a kind of a non-self-pitying way.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
You know, this is another thing I liked about you. You didn't attract one iota of pity.
No, because
You didn't.
It isn't helpful.
You didn't play it.
No, it's not helpful.
I know it's not helpful, but you didn't play it. I suppose having gone through it, you know it better than anybody else. So why would you play it? It's people who don't go through it that kind of play it. You
Or
didn't play
people,
it.
they don't know what to do because they look at you, they can't see the bag necessarily. You look okay.
Yeah.
They can't really. It's not like I've got a big scar on my face.
So the bravery and the resilience and the everyday resilience and the getting on with it that you had was one thing that struck me. And then, of course, the other thing that struck me is that this personal quality you have, which is your candor.
Yeah.
You're very candid as a person. It means that you have a quite naughty sense of humor.
Yeah,
and at times you're TMI. And not from me, but sometimes I go, somebody
Listen,
must
you're
think
saying what my friends all say. They're always saying, like, did you have to tell me that? I'm like,
yeah,
sorry about that.
But it's part of the package. With your package of candor comes TMI. You can't be utterly candid unless you give TMI sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I was going, it's how candid you are, right? And I found that extraordinary. Now, so what came out of that? What came out of that was the candor of this person, the resilience of this person, and I knowing that they have, let's say, me as a member just punter watching, knowing that they have a urostomy bag and a colostomy bag.
Yeah.
It didn't change the way I saw you at all.
No.
And I think that is a great testament to you. So that this is where you won. You won because you have shown that in a business which is fickle and vain and narcissistic, you can say the most kind of revealing, grossy out thing about yourself. Yeah. And I don't see you in any way differently at all. In fact, I would see you as being raised in my eyes. So I wondered, were you worried about that maybe by being candid about this, that you go, everybody's going to be grossed out of me and think I'm a freak?
Or I was trying to milk it and go, please vote for me because, God love me and my 2 bags.
Oh, yeah. I never got that either, yeah.
Yeah, so I really was slightly aware of that thing.
Vote for 2 bags, Kennedy.
Yeah. Well, I had the T-shirts ready from Cancer to Dancer backstage, Come on, they was all ready to go. But no,
That's cool, though.
They were good about it. They let me talk about it when it felt right.
Were they?
To talk
Yeah.
About it. Yeah. I talked about it on camera with Laura a couple of times. And then actually the only reason I was disappointed not to get further was because we had a dedication week and I was going to dedicate it to my surgeon, the cancer surgeon and the heart surgeon. We were going to go and interview them and all that. It was all going to sort of vaguely put together. That would have been good, but
So,
again, maybe too much.
One of the notes I read that Patrick sent me was, again, very touching because, correct me if I'm wrong here, so you had a quadruple bypass and the lady that stopped your heart.
Yes.
Tell me that one.
So she called me the morning after the first show. And I was not expecting. Suddenly, up on my phone comes St. James's Hospital cardiac. I'm like, oh, hello. I thought kind of somebody was going to tell me off. Honestly, I did. I became a child for half a second. I went, hello. And she goes, Brian, it's Sarah Early. I went, who was the surgeon, right? I went, Sarah. Thinking, what's she got? She goes, I just had to ring you. I'm so proud of you. I went, what? I said, Sarah, Jesus, I thought you were going to give out to me or something. She goes, well, truthfully, when they contacted me for a letter to sign you off to do this program, I initially said no. Because I hadn't seen your up-to-date, and the cardiologist, Ian Pearson, who's in charge of my cardiology journey, had said to her, look, we need to sign off on this. And she goes, oh God, no. She goes, Brian, you had a massive heart attack. I'm not, she goes, I'm not going to, do anything other than tell you what happened. When you came to us, you had a massive heart attack. So it was touch and go for a while. And, if you'd have made a good recovery, we'd have been really delighted. But she goes, I just saw your recent, because the stress test that I just did and the MRI. Normally, I had a 30% heart muscle rate when I had the heart attack at home. And I walked across to A&E from my house, stumbling across this. It was kind of a building site at that point, the new hospital there, where A&E is in St. James's. And she said to me, but I have to say, you've made a full recovery. It's just hard to believe. And she goes, and there you are, throwing yourself around that dance like you haven't a bother on you. She goes, we're all just so knocked out and proud of you. And she goes, I'm just so glad to be able to get to say that to you and I said to her, Sarah, you know that you're the only person that's had my heart in your hands. And she did exactly that. She started laughing. She goes, oh, you and your one-liners and all that.
Yeah.
And I said, no, but it's true because, as you say, she stopped my heart. They took the veins all the way up there.
Yeah, see this big, huge, long scar.
Whoa. So they take all the veins from there and then reroute them around the heart. Because, of course, they're not going to be rejected. They're already in my body.
Yeah.
So it's very, very clever. But you're slightly fucked if your veins aren't good. Yeah. First thing she said to me was, let me see your legs. And I went, okay. And she goes, oh, yeah, your legs look okay.
Good.
So that's good. We don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people's legs aren't.
Why did you have a heart attack?
It's a good question. I certainly had a lot of damage. There's a school of thought that says that when you have the amount of chemo that I had, 6 months of chemo, that can damage your heart muscle. Yeah. But it's not something that people really talk about because it doesn't always happen. And also, you don't want to scare people into not having the treatment either. So we don't know for sure. But what happened was I started every scan I had post-cancer to say that the cancer hadn't returned. They would say, there's a bit of, there's a wee bit of build up there in one of your main arteries, but that's kind of normal. Don't worry about that. So that had been flagged. And then second time around again. And then one morning I was in bed and I felt all of this bubbling stuff around where I thought my heart was.
You felt it?
I'd felt it bubbling. And I thought to myself, that's not normal.
Nope.
So I went up to my GP immediately. He wrote me a letter and said, go to A&E now.
Yeah.
So I did.
They knew what that bubbling was.
Yeah. And he went and they tested me. And I remember in particular this lady saying to me, I remember because she had a very particular accent. And she said to me, we're not worried about your heart at all. I went, oh, that's great. And I'd been over a few times with chest pains, with terrible stomach acid, all kinds of things like that. But and they'd always sent me home with Nexium or you're fine. And even my cardiologist at the time, not the new one now, had said to me, look, we'll book you in for a big MOT, but like in about 5 years. 2 weeks later, I had a massive heart attack in the house. So your guess is as good as mine. Certainly, I don't think the chemo helped. I also don't think, I'm caught between thinking, well, what did those boosters do? In terms of, the COVID boosters, because I had terrible COVID.
Yeah.
I caught COVID later on in heart rehabilitation classes in James's. That's where I caught COVID. And then I did feel very unwell when I had a couple of the boosters and everything, but then I got better. So it's pointless trying to really guess.
We don't know, yeah.
We just don't know.
Yeah.
And also, one thing we do know is that heart attacks can come very quickly.
Can they?
They can. They can just...
Was there a history of heart
No.
in your family?
I mean, my granddad...
Because it's very genetically predisposed.
Well, interestingly, my granny had a colostomy bag.
Yeah.
And my dad had one for a while and got reversed. So that is interesting. But certainly the heart stuff, I had a grandfather on my granddad Kennedy, my dad's dad, who was, a big smoker, big drinker, all of that, died of a massive heart attack on Christmas Day and on all of that. So that did happen to us. But not really. Heart stuff wasn't really. I came from marathon runners, fitness people.
Yeah.
I came from that kind of family, not smokers.
Can you tell me what it's like to have a heart attack?
Yeah,
try and pretend. Just I can.
I
You're not
remember
pretending.
it.
And nobody, not many people know what it's like.
Yeah.
What is it like? Just tell me what happens during that day.
So that day, I'd been up. The day before, I'd been filming in James's Hospital for a charity, bizarrely. Then I went up to Belfast to do another cancer charity thing. And then I drove back from Belfast, went to dinner at my friend's house. They don't drink, so I didn't drink. And I drove home again. And I felt a long, like a cylinder-shaped pain on my right side. So it was atypical. It wasn't what they tell you it happens at all.
Not on your right side. It is on your right side.
No, it's all on the left,
It's
usually
on
down
the
your
left.
left
Is
arm.
it? They say the left.
Up into the jaw, all that
The
stuff.
left is where your heart is?
It's more to the
More
left.
to the left.
It's actually more towards
And so
the
they
middle.
say you get things in your left, do you?
That's more typical.
Oh.
But mine was completely atypical. So when I described my symptoms, they were like, "Oh, right, okay, that sounds weird." But so I thought that maybe it was cancer again or something because the pain was so intense suddenly. And in fact,
The pain was a long pain.
a long pain all down my right side in my chest, but over towards the right side of the chest.
What
I remember
kind of a
thinking,
pain? Dull?
"Oh no, very sore, very painful."
Okay.
But and kind of constant now.
And stopping you walking or breathing properly?
That happened eventually when I walked over. But I thought to myself, here's the scary part. It was Friday night, so during the night, but 2 a.m. into Saturday. And I thought, James's Hospital, A&E, it's going to be a nightmare because I'd been over a few times that year. And I thought, you know what, I'll take a sleeping tablet and get up tomorrow and do that if it's still sore. Thankfully, I didn't have a sleeping tablet in the house.
You think you would have died in your
I might have. I might have died, absolutely. So I took nothing and I lay down. And when I lay down, it got worse, the pain.
Yeah.
So I got up, got my clothes on, walked over in the kind of blustery rain. Like I say, it was more of a building site at that point.
So you're living beside the hospital?
I'm living beside the hospital. So I walked across, big lumps of ground missing and lumps of rocks and everything. I'd started to stagger at this point and I got up to the window and I just said, "There's something wrong with my chest. I don't know what." They got me in, they got me hooked up quite quickly. And then the nurse was all, "Oh, how are you, Brian?" and all that, because they'd seen me before over there and they know me a wee bit and all that. And then she just suddenly closed the curtains and came back. She said, "You're having a massive heart attack."
She said.
And I thought, yeah, I am. Like, it's really like, oh God. And then that changed everything. It was like a sliding doors moment. Suddenly, all the curtains closed. I had to go off and be in a private room. They brought me to a room. They gave me all this stuff. And she said, "Look, we have to wait till tomorrow morning." This is now 3 a.m. Have to wait till 7 to have an angiogram. Because that's when they do them. And so I had an angiogram that morning. And then it was like, okay, your heart muscle's at 30%. That's not good.
Oh.
And then the rest took over. And then Sarah kept me in for a couple of days. And then she said, "Okay, we have a plan.
Quadruple bypass.
Your heart muscle's up to 40 now. So we can do something."
How did they get it up to 40?
It just did it itself with the medication as well. She goes, "If it doesn't come back by itself, you're screwed." Yeah. Just the stress was out of it. So she said to me, "You took an awful bang on your heart there." I remember thinking, yeah, it felt like a bang. It felt like somebody had really kicked me hard in the chest. And like I say, she then booked me in for the quadruple bypass. She said, "When you wake up tomorrow, you're going to feel like you've been hit by not one, but 2 buses." Wow. And my God, was she right.
Really?
Oh, God. I woke up the next day. It was kind of hilarious.
Is it like you've been beaten up?
Or worse. I've been beaten up. I know how that feels. Way worse than that. Oh, yeah, as a kid.
Beaten up?
Oh, beaten up badly. Oh, yeah. My family members, too.
No way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I didn't. Beaten up badly?
Oh, yeah. Like kicked unconscious. And at school. I was knocked unconscious at school a few times. But the next day I woke up in ICU. And it was a lovely, I think he was maybe from the Philippines. And he goes, "Oh, Brian, Eurovision, right?" And this woman was kind of down for me a bit. She goes, "Why does he keep saying that you're a vision? Look at the state of us." And I was going, "No, he means the Eurovision."
You're not a vision.
I'm not a vision. I know I'm not a vision.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it was so funny. But he was such a sweetheart. He really cheered me up.
Yeah.
And then I only had to spend a day.
But you felt like what? You felt like hit by 2 buses?
I felt like 2 buses were on top of my chest pressing down.
Okay.
And it was really sore. And I had all the stitches here.
Yeah.
And when I tried to walk, I couldn't again, so I had to learn to walk again because for the muscles to atrophy that quickly is really terrifying.
For your leg muscles and everything?
Yeah.
So your body muscles. So
something dropped weight.
You're in bed for 2 weeks and your muscles start...
They completely atrophy. Oh. And then you, even to get up to go to the loo, and then by mistake, they brought me a child's colostomy bag and urostomy bag. A child's one, so way too small. And so I kept saying to them, this isn't big enough. You know, I'm going to wet myself. I'm going to wet the bed. So, but I will say one thing. When I had the cancer treatment, I was in a private part on my own in a room, right? For the heart attack, I was in the public ward. I much preferred the public ward because one time in the private room, I dropped the buzzer and I couldn't literally get it off the floor. And I was in terrible pain for a couple of hours and nobody came to see me until 2 hours later. And I was lying there going, and she's like, oh, Jesus, Brian, I'm so sorry we didn't look out on you. If you're in pain in a public ward, you just go, excuse me. And somebody goes, a nurse, he's in pain. And then there was actually a wee bit of crack going on too.
Yes.
There was an old fella kind of singing songs and everything and all that. If you're in the mood for it.
I know what you mean.
And so I felt actually much better.
I know.
In a public ward. Because it's the same doctors.
Yeah.
But it's just loads more people around.
Yeah.
And it's sure a few people.
I could see the point.
Oh man, I absolutely would choose it again.
The comfort of human spirits around you.
Knowing that you would, if something happened, somebody would come very quick.
But also the characters and just a bit of crap.
And what are you in for? Oh, oh, I had a triple. Oh, I had a quadruple. Excuse me.
Quadruple, right? Yeah. Quadruple, right? And so, when was that? Quadruple.
So that was, let me think, where are we now? 26. So that was 20.
I'm here on the job site with Dale, who's a framing contractor.
Hey, good morning.
Dale traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for all his business vehicles. We're here where he needs us most.
Yep, they sure are.
We make it easy for him to save on all his insurance needs, all in one place, with coverage that fits his business and bottom line. Oh, I shouldn't have looked down.
It's all right.
We're so far up here.
Look at me. Take a deep breath.
No, I'm good. So good.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
Nearly 4 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Was it 22 or 21?
Extraordinary.
22, I think. It is extraordinary because every time I look at that lovely big scar that she cut me right down the middle between the
Do you feel,
boobs.
Looking back, you said in one of the things you said in the notes was your 50s obviously sucked.
Oh man, if I look back on them now, they were so unkind to me from the get-go. So turning 50, being diagnosed with cancer, Bap dying at the same time. We'd been estranged for such a long time. And then
Bap is your brother.
This is my eldest brother. It was a musician.
Who you were estranged from for 20 years.
Longer. 30
Longer.
Years. Yeah.
Can I just briefly ask you,
sure.
Why were you estranged?
Well, see, it's a brief question, but it's not a brief answer.
Well, you can go on.
Look, I think when you grow up in a family like we did, in the time that we did, in the Falls Road, uber Catholic, so people coming at you from every angle, telling the British Army telling you when to go and when to stop, having to queue at a turnstile to go into town, unlike any other part of town. It was like a Catholic ghetto, really, that we grew up in. I remember, Mary saying that. In our house, it was 6 kids, and my parents were kind of kids themselves, really. They were in their 20s when they got married and started having babies. They had 6 babies immediately. And it was a very tough time financially. You weren't even allowed to be straight, never mind any other kind of gay or anything. So I knew I was kind of different from the other kids very early on, and it got me into trouble. As you say, look at me now as an adult. I'm a bit TMI, even now. But as a kid, I was smart and sensitive, and I had a sense of
were you a little provocative?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Because...
mischievous.
One out of 6 kids, you have to do something that makes you stand out.
And
And singing hadn't really come yet. But the other thing that
you were a little bit of a show-off.
No, but I was a bit of a... No, there was no room for that. But certainly what there was I was bright. And I could see, looking across the room, I was a little bit of a feminist, I would say. I would look at my mother and go, but you work all day too. And you have to come in and clean up after all of us, make all the dinner, do all the dishes as well afterwards. And Dad goes out for a run, reads the paper, goes to work and does all that stuff. He wasn't a drinker or any of that business. But the inequality really hit me hard all the time, and I couldn't understand it. So I went on a strike, and I wouldn't let her cook for me at all. So I lived on Weetabix for about 1.5 years. I would say maybe 2 years. Breakfast done, lunch and dinner, Weetabix, that's it. You don't have to cook for me anymore. I'll do my own washing, blah, blah, blah. And
I
staged a protest in the own house, and it caused absolute ructions. So I'd say to my dad, why don't you write a rota, and then we can all take turns doing the dishes? Well, my brothers were looking at me going, where the fuck did you come from?
Brian Kennedy, revolutionary.
Right. In the house. Because I just thought to myself, this isn't right. But because they're women. I had one sister and a mother.
Yeah.
And I just kept saying to myself, this just isn't right.
So did you love Nell McCafferty and all that sort of
Later on, Nell McCafferty came to my 40th birthday party in my house, but she came over to visit me one time before that, and I just had everything painted, and all that. So it cost a fortune to paint this house. And Nell started smoking in the living room, and I hadn't the heart to tell her to not smoke. I was thinking, look what you've done for us. No, not that, because you've done so much for Ireland.
I would never tell Nell McCafferty not to smoke.
Ah, no, please. I grew up with those women. I'm not afraid of women.
I wouldn't risk it.
Would you not?
Telling Nell McCafferty to do anything.
I thought she deserved to smoke because she'd done so much for Ireland, actually. So
fearsome woman.
I was never afraid of her. No.
Yeah, maybe not afraid. Okay,
No.
but it's fearsome though.
No, I grew up with women like that.
Yes, but she was fearsome. She was formidable.
So were the women I grew up with.
That's right.
Yeah. Falls Road women.
Tremendous
trying to make something happen, trying to make dinner out of nothing.
Yeah.
Trying to, keep all these kids not to be shot dead outside.
People to be absolutely reckoned with.
Reckoned with, but also, God love them. When I think of it now, I just see PTSD everywhere I look. Including Nell, including all the politicians, not just, my side.
Yeah.
Not just Jerry and people I got to know. I mean, when I look at all the other politicians, I see PTSD. I really do. Still, when I see anybody on TV, I think, look at that poor fucker, just traumatized out of your mind.
Yeah.
That's what makes you so entrenched in what you're doing, I think. So one of the great people I met was Mo Molam. I got to know her very well at that time, and she was amazing. She was just like, she'd pull her wig off. She had cancer, the first person I knew, and way before I got cancer, obviously.
She took her wig off in public.
Sometimes what she'd do, she said to me that if the talks weren't going well, or it was getting a bit heated between Jerry and Paisley, she'd whip her wig off and throw it in the middle of the table.
That is very funny.
Right? Just to kind of freak out. And then the other thing she told me she'd do was that she said, she'd ask the security, she got security, so would you go and get me some tampons? I've run out of tampons.
Brilliant.
And so it's suddenly all these straight.
I could just imagine Adams going,
Now, before I suggest the next thing, Mo, don't fucking throw the wig on the table.
Keep the wig on the table.
Keep the wig. Keep your hair on.
All of that. And then I was privy to seeing these people privately. But if I'd sing at something privately in Hillsborough Castle, sure, there'd be Paisley chatting away to everybody, and like all very Martin, the wonderful Martin McGuinness, all chatting away to each other like they were.
That was quite well documented, though, wasn't it? The sort of the quasi friendship between McGuinness and Paisley.
Yeah.
It was well documented how, in person, in private, they got on well together.
Oh yeah, I saw it with my own eyes.
Yeah,
absolutely. Hillsborough Castle, what a bizarre. It's like a little kind of principality in the middle of...
It's an unbelievable building, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. The gardens are extraordinary. I stayed there a couple of times too when Sean Woodward was, minister up there for Northern Ireland. He invited me a couple of times. I had dinner with him and Fergal Sharkey and what you call your woman. Remember that? That's like, what do you call?
Esther Ranson.
Esther Ranson. Esther and me, and all Esther wanted to talk to me about was cyber dating. She was talking about how it was so difficult to get a boyfriend these days and everything, and we were having a good laugh about that. And Fergal was, was very funny and dairy.
The undertones. And now a big water pollution and everything.
That's right, yeah. And I kept saying, oh, Fergal, please just make one more record. It's like, nope, not doing it. That's it. Not doing that
Did
again.
you like his records?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you think he's a good musician?
I think he's a good everything. A good person. Now and again, the Falls Road or Derry or these places throw up these extraordinary
individuals. They certainly do.
Like when I first met Seamus Heaney.
Yeah, from that school.
And John Hume, for example.
They went to that school.
John came to one of my sound checks one time in Derry, and he was very downcast. Stop me if I'm talking too much. And I said to him, "You all right?" He goes, he had paused, and then he said, "Do you think anybody will remember me?" He said to me. And I went, "John, are you joking? Look what you've done." And I said, and then it came up in my mind, and I said, "And didn't Seamus Heaney write a poem about you? Write a line, something like, there was one taller than the rest of us that stood taller, right?" And he said, oh, I don't know. So then, weirdly, I then was at the opening, the rejigging of the Lyric Theatre in Belfast. I was one of the people that fundraised for it a lot, with Liam Neeson and various people. But Seamus came to lay the founding stone. So we were sitting quite near each other, and I didn't want to bother him, but because a lot of people were very excited he was there, of course. And then eventually I found myself beside him. And he said to me, how you doing? What are you working on? I was going, do you know, two things. Number one, I wanted to ask you, I'm writing a biography. And is it true that you wrote a couple of lines about John Hume in a poem of yours? One stood taller than the rest was kind of the line. And he sits, and those gorgeous big dark eyebrows and the big cloud of white hair, and he goes, yes, that's right. And he wrote it down for me on a piece of paper. I said, how do I go about getting permission? He goes, you have permission. I'll give it to you now. And he wrote it on a piece of paper. That was amazing. But then the next thing he said to me is, can you imagine this happening to you? He goes, what's the first few lines of your biography? I just went, oh, Jesus, okay. And I said, well, the first couple of lines are, the first time I ever saw the word singer was on my mother's sewing machine.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's really good.
It is good.
Seamus Heaney.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
extraordinary. When Bap was dying, I reached out because I knew he was dying very soon. And I managed to go meet with him and sit with him for about an hour in his house.
Was it hard for you to reach out?
No. Not when I knew it was terminal. No, not at all. It just felt so right. I had this mantra in my brain: is that don't worry about what's right or wrong. What's the kindest thing to do in that situation? And that's how I try and live the rest of my life. What's the kindest thing I could do, rather than right or wrong? I remember I had
Go on.
Well, I was just thinking about this the other day when I opened on Broadway in Riverdance, 26 years ago. I didn't know whether to invite my parents or not because we hadn't spoken for a very long time. And then I was talking to the lovely Larry Mullen at a dinner at Bill Hughes' house. And he said to me, what's going on? I said, look, can I just ask you a question about something? He goes, yeah. And I said, I don't know what to do about that. Because what I don't want to do is reward bad behaviour. But I'm only going to debut on Broadway once. And one of their children is only going to debut on Broadway once. And I'm torn between inviting them or not inviting them. And all that. And I was in therapy at the time too. And he said, well, look, he gave me some really brilliant advice. He just said, listen, remember who you are. And if you're a kind person and a generous person, just be that person. Don't worry about what happened before. You'll get one shot to do this because you'll never debut again anywhere like that again. Once you debut, you've done it. And I thought to myself, that's good advice. So I did. I flew them out. And they stayed for a week in New York and they saw me open on Broadway and on all of that. And Mo Mola was at the centre of that too because she was over. So she kept grabbing my parents and bringing them up to like all these like the Clintons and all this stuff and saying, this is Brian Kennedy's parents. You know, it's so funny. She was brilliant like that. She just would march through security like in America. You know what it's like in America.
Sounds like a character.
Oh man, she was a hoot.
Yeah.
And just like pinching, Liam Neeson's arse and everything. So hilarious. Yeah, very funny. So these were very, very interesting days. But it didn't really work. The estrangement just continued then, and there wasn't a way back. I did, and I could sit in therapy and go, you know what, I did do my best.
So after bringing them over, the estrangement continued.
Yeah. It took a little. There was a little bit of contact.
Do you know? You said if you're a kind person, do what that kind person would do.
Right. So don't worry about what's right or wrong.
Yeah, I understand.
Do what's kind.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
But I have another thing to add to it. Do you know the idea? One of the things that I heard somebody say a few years ago, just about how to proceed with your own life and things, and through difficult little crossroads like that, and difficult questions like that.
Yeah,
is behave to yourself like your best friend would treat you.
Yeah.
So do for yourself how you think your best friend would treat you.
See, that's hard.
Okay, so imagine, in other words, what should I do here? Well, take advice from your imaginary best friend who happens to be you. All right?
Okay.
Now, so let me introduce then an example. So let's say you say, I have a choice here. I can engage or not engage. But you also have a question. And the question is, what about knowing that if I engage, it's bound to be toxic for me? Should I still engage?
Yeah. That was the crux of the matter for me. Was it still, and it was toxic again in the end, and so it was. It didn't work, and I didn't necessarily think, oh, this is going to fix everything, because like I say, now as an older man, my dad's dead now, and my mother's still alive, in a grip of dementia in a home. I met them again in 2017, a year after Bap died, because I thought that would be a good idea to do that. And my therapist encouraged me to do that. So I set up a meeting with them via I have a younger brother I'm very fond of, and he managed to set it up. And I met them, and they didn't know who I was at all. My mother was so in dementia already. She kept saying things like, "Are you married, love? Where do you live, love?" And I live in Dublin. All right.
How did you find that?
It was weird. And Dad wasn't quite in dementia yet. He ended up in dementia too. But he couldn't look at me. When he came through the door, he dropped his head immediately. And they both sat down. And it was so comical in a way, because they're both quite wee. And I'm sitting beside them, and they've made me. These two people had sex and I was born, right? And here I am as an older man. And then when Stuart, my brother, he hates me saying his name. Anyway, when he brought them home in the car, she kept saying to him, "Who was that fella with the long dark hair? The big tall fella with all that dark hair. Who's he?" And Stuart would go, "That's Brian, Mommy. That's You know, I'm Stuart and Brian's my older brother. He's your son. Aye. And who's he? It's just was not going in and all that. And so that's where we're at there.
Okay.
And then Dad died a few years after that when I was away. And then that happened.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even know he's dead, I think. I think she just thought he was her dad, I think.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of relationships in your life? As in,
No.
Yeah. So so in other words, you do you have a partner?
No. Never had a partner.
Have you not?
Never.
Yeah.
Funny that, isn't it?
You've always. I don't necessarily.
I remember Sharon Corr saying that to me. She said, "But
aren't there quite a lot of gay men
Yeah.
who don't have a partner?"
Yes, there are.
Oh.
There are.
It's
not unusual.
It's not unusual.
No, but to have never had a partner,
right?
That's a little unusual.
In other words, you're saying that some gay men have tried to have a partner, didn't work,
I had a few, as Joni Mitchell would say, I had a few false alarms. A
Yeah.
couple that came along. I thought, oh, well, maybe.
Yeah.
And no.
Why do you think you don't have a partner?
I think a few things about that. I think that where I grew up, how I grew up,
Yes.
the real desperation and hunger to be on my own,
Yeah.
because I was so crowded out by the house
Interesting.
and by everybody that I craved my own space. And then I got it. I became a singer and I made some money and I bought my flat and I was delighted with myself in London. But then when I did that, when I was 18, 19, 20, in 85, 86, the first pandemic we met was HIV and AIDS. And so suddenly, if you were a gay person, the thing that you were really risking was getting this thing that they called at the time, gay cancer, HIV and AIDS. So that made me I was celibate for about 4 years. I was terrified to have sex with anybody. In London, because I was young as well.
Through the mid to late 80s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course.
It was terrifying.
Absolute.
All the ads were, coffins.
I know.
And you remember all that.
Yeah.
And then when I
But
came
also,
out of...
not only,
Yeah.
it wasn't just scare tactics. We have the, no need for me to tell you, but maybe my audience, because I would have remembered seeing the ads and everything and the document.
Where were you at that point, in Ireland?
Yeah, so I was.
We were still illegal then, of course, in Ireland.
Totally, yeah. And thanks to David Norris.
Thanks to David Norris, who told me the best joke ever. And do you mind if I tell it?
Oh, of course.
He told me it at the airport. We met at the one of the gates, and he said to me, Brad. And he said, what does Brian Kennedy and Grafton Street have in common? And I said, what? They both have a Brown Thomas. It's hilarious. Because you can insert your own name.
I do a very good impression of David Norris.
Do you?
Yeah.
But you do a good impression of everybody.
Yeah, but not everybody. Cause
I'm not very good at it. But I don't like that.
Yes, but I go,
Well, do you know who I am? It is that.
Okay.
No, but
and we have a winner.
No, but it
We
is
have a winner.
that thing he does, right? And it's a Dublin thing as well.
And it's a shouty
And he,
Mikey
of
Gaff.
course, so it's very aristocratic.
Yeah.
Right? But he also has a Dublin accent.
He does.
So he has a kind of a quasi-Anglo-Irish. And let me tell you, I do a great inner city one as well. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Go away over there.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
so it's like Karen Byrne is inside his body.
That's right. I went to his house a couple of times.
He does. He loves the inner city.
Oh, I mean, he's just a
He lived there all his
a
life.
sparkling man. Yeah, he's kind of one of the only, when you hear about what Dublin used to be like with, Oscar wandering around.
Talk about
and all that.
TMI.
Yeah.
Ah,
exactly.
boy.
But telling me that joke at the top of his voice at a crowded gate in Heathrow Airport.
Yeah.
I mean,
Glorious.
unless you know Dublin, you wouldn't get that joke anyway.
Glorious.
I told that joke one time.
Really good joke, yeah.
Oh, it's a brilliant
brilliant.
joke. Because you can insert your own name.
Of course.
And I'm insulting myself. and anyway, we love Brian Thomas. I love Brian Thomas. BTs. Yes.
So,
I derailed myself there. Sorry, I don't know.
Not at all. The 80s.
Yeah.
Because you would see these little documentaries and things, and by the way, there's a film I wanted to see if you've ever seen, but
It wasn't Gods and Monsters, was it?
no, it was one of the greatest, one of my favorite films of all time, and it's just I haven't thought about it in 20 years. Actually, it's a smallish budget film, but a famous film about AIDS, and it's called Long Time Companion.
Yeah, I saw it at the time.
And it's truly extraordinary.
I saw it at the time.
It's a truly extraordinary film.
But
It's about a man who's dying.
Did you ever see one called An Early Frost?
No.
Aidan Quinn. First time I ever saw Aidan Quinn on TV. He made this film called An Early Frost, and he was a young gay man who happened to then get HIV and AIDS and die. But I ended up right beside him at a dinner thing, and I was dying to ask him about it. But he got taken away somewhere else. But yeah, there was these kind of attempts at it, and of course then there was Philadelphia and those kind of. Films.
Yeah, I liked Philadelphia.
I did too.
Yeah,
I'm not the greatest Tom Hanks fan, but I
but I loved Denzel in it.
Yes.
You know, I can't do an impression of Denzel, but there's a great series of lines in it where he's talking to a guy on the stand, and he goes, "Are you a queer? Are you a homo?" And he went, the people are looking around the court going, what kind of language is this guy using?" But he did it deliberately.
Yeah.
He wanted to show the language.
Yeah. No, it was a clever film. It was a movie
Clever
film.
enough,
And it's
yeah.
the only, I'm not the biggest Springsteen fan either, shockingly. But I love the theme tune.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm really not. I never have been.
Yeah. Oh, that's a different.
The only Bruce I like is Forsyth.
And he's great. Oh, my love.
I love him.
Oh, my
Now
love.
you're talking.
I love. Hi, hello. Oh, my love, my love.
Oh, he was so brilliant. I loved that.
Yeah, Bruce. And he lived to a great age.
Didn't he just? He used to get up and dance every morning, apparently.
Yeah, great dancer.
Yeah.
Great dancer.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we were talking about the idea then that by the time I then got to thinking about partners and everything and having sex again, I started getting a wee bit famous. And I wasn't in the closet, but I wasn't out of it either.
I know what you mean.
So it's just like,
That's tricky
another
as well.
complication.
Yeah.
You know,
And then you slept with Ronan Keating. On
I
top
did
of the
not.
car.
I did.
Sorry, that never happened.
Not my
Was
type.
that a famous?
Yeah, I mean,
but the audience,
listen.
my listeners, not all of them. There was the great
There
urban
was.
myth.
There was. That's
urban
right.
myth going around
Yeah.
in the mid early 2000s that Ronan
99.
that Ronan Keating was secretly gay and that he was sleeping with Brian Kennedy.
That's right. That was the big thing at the time. And in
Fair
fact,
play.
well, not even that long ago, my friend, you know, the lovely Catherine Lynch.
Yes.
She was coming down Thomas Street behind these two old ladies.
Yeah.
And the old ladies were talking about how, you know, it's common knowledge now that Ronan had an affair with a woman.
Yeah.
And all of that. And so one of them turned to the other and she goes, actually, wasn't he riding Brian Kennedy for ages?
Yeah.
This was just like an accepted fact. And Catherine was like, wait till I tell you what I just overheard.
I think Eddie Irvine was there somewhere as well.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I
he
think
was
there were
everywhere.
golf clubs involved also.
Everywhere. Eddie
And
Irvine
a
was
sports
everywhere.
car.
Oh,
Yeah, the
that
details just got
It
out
was
of control.
so funny. It was
I
so funny.
know.
I think there was another great one as well because well, not this isn't a story, but it's more like I am a massive fan of Paul Brady,
Oh, me too.
right? Because I think Paul Brady
Me too.
is what you kind of call the real deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's when it's
Can
when
you
it's
do his accent?
Hmm?
Can you do him?
I can. I don't do him because he's kind of Straban or
Yeah.
Oma.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry,
Straban.
Straban, yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't like to insult him by not getting it right. So I'd have to
Yeah.
work on it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I don't want to do a generalized one.
And also, you
but anyway,
should also
he's
do him singing rather than...
he's the real deal, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And there's something about artists who are the real deal,
Mm.
and you just kind of know it. And I don't mean like I'm not blowing smoke up their hole. Actually,
Yeah. So you can't do that to me anymore. I've got no hole.
It's just that idea of that they mean what they're doing so much,
Yes, that's right.
and it means so much to him. And you know that song, "The Island."
Oh,
is,
goodness me.
It's that song, "The Island," has been almost turned into a piece of schlock in a way. No, sorry, I'm wrong.
Explain yourself,
What
Mario.
I mean by that is it's almost a cliche now, "The Island."
Uh-huh.
But if you just listen to it and like, it is also possibly a piece of genius.
Oh, I think so.
And I know it's revered and I know it's loved, but it's just so sometimes songs become too popular. And,
That's right.
And it's been
Yeah,
almost
like,
so popular.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, but like I was at
that
John
song.
McColgan's 80th birthday, right? And you were there as well. And Paul was there, and he did "The Island."
You did?
And it was just like, it's extraordinary. And it's a lovely bit of you talk about Heaney. It's a beautiful bit of poetry as well.
That's the thing about him, that he's so capable of being really brusque. And, you know, first time I met him, we sort of had a mini argument. And it didn't go well. And I said to him, I'm not going to argue with you because I'm too much of a fan. That's what I said. Right, and I meant that. It was in London. And then we've become friends ever since
Have
that.
you?
Yeah. I've been very privileged to be sitting beside him when he does Arthur McBride socially and all that. And then, you know, one of the songs that really matter to me is Nothing But the Same Old Story. You know, and that
One of the greatest Irish songs ever.
ever written about our situation.
And they take me around to the parties like some dressed up monkey in a cage, and I play my accordion.
Yeah, I mean, he's incredible. So and Van is very similar. Sometimes you can meet versions of these people that are not really them, or they are really them, which is kind of brash and shy and all those things. And then you read the poetry. I mean, at the moment I'm playing Oscar Wilde in...
Yes.
It's called Moonlight, the Philip Lynott enigma.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing with that's what they've done, the writers have done with
Yeah.
Philip. They're saying, yeah, we know all the drugs and rock and roll, but actually, if you really focus on the lyrics, they're so full of poetry.
Oh God! But but poetry which is accessible to people.
Yeah.
Like we were just saying it on. I was doing a sketch yesterday, and I was talking about it, and to Ian, and it was like dancing in the moonlight. And he goes on, I always get chocolate stains on my pants.
You know.
And even that line, dancing in the moonlight, it's just so. It reminds me of.
It's got me in its spotlight.
It's got me in its spotlight.
What a brilliant observation.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Romeo and Juliet from Dire Straits.
You're right.
That thing.
Yes.
He's standing under the street
Super
light.
Trooper from ABBA.
Yeah, he's standing under the street light. Says something like "You and me, babe." But also Super Trooper from ABBA.
Yeah.
She's talking about a light which is shining down on her.
Called a Super Trooper.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Is that it's called?
That's what it's called.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, the ABBA idea, the Super Trooper, the people, the Super Trooper is this really upbeat song, Super Trooper, but it's so sad.
Yeah.
So this is the typical juxtaposition of ABBA, juxtaposing really sad situations with really upbeat melody.
Imagine starting a song with "I don't want to talk."
Yeah.
I'm already in tears.
I know.
Because you're like, I don't want to talk, but you are
I know.
talking. I know you don't want to. The winner takes it all.
Oh my God.
The lyrics in that song.
The winner takes it
and
all.
the melody.
Yeah.
It's so articulate
Yeah.
about heartbreak, that song.
It is.
It's
It is.
extraordinary.
And part of their genius was their use of rudimentary English language.
Yeah.
The fact that Scandinavians speak perfect English,
Yeah.
but it's not what you might call erudite English. So they kind
Yeah.
of put things baldly and simply.
That's right.
They,
No fat involved.
you are the winner, he
Yeah.
is the loser.
Yeah, that's right.
And that makes the songs very bald, and that's very emotional.
And that's what
Even
I
more
think that's their power. And also throw into the mix, rather like Fleetwood Mac, they're all singing about each other.
Yeah.
You know, they are going through a divorce when she's recording that vocal, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's all
So
real.
where's Moonlight? You're going on and everything.
We are about
That's an
to
exciting
open-
project.
It's an amazing project.
Do you like playing Oscar Wilde?
I do. I
Yeah.
do, because I've never played anybody before.
gay
other than
icon?
myself. Yeah, he's a gay icon, definitely. But at the same time, he's also somebody to be extremely proud of.
Yes.
Initially, people were so ashamed of what was going on there. And then now, of course, when the dust and the glitter has settled, we really see somebody who was just so ahead of their time in that sense. Everything he said was a proclamation. Everything was terribly important and all of that, but also so much fun, you know. I mean, one of my favorites is when he says, some people are adored wherever they go, whereas other people are adored whenever they go.
Yeah.
And it's just one line, one word will turn the whole thing around.
Just total, complete pithy, how pithy that is.
Yeah, and also the great thing for me is that I've never acted in my life before until this moment. And Peter M. Smith, who plays Philip, sort of half tricked me into it. He was like, "Come along, just and have a look," and blah blah blah. Little did I know I was kind of going to do a table read with these other incredible actors. I was like, "Jesus, lads," you know. But I kind of went for it anyway, and as I did the first time I ever met Van. You just have to go for it, and so. The great thing about Oscar is we don't really know what he sounded like. Not really.
No.
So-
There's no recording.
Yeah, there's a couple
there
of
is
fake ones around.
There's
I
a couple of little fake ones. There's one that claims to be.
Yeah.
There's one that claims to be. They're not sure. It's very weak as well.
Yeah.
And his voice is a little
he
high pitched.
talks very slowly.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
And all that. And so I have an idea of what he might have been like.
Yeah.
And of course, I've seen the Stephen Fry movie and different things like that. But
Peter Finch did him as well.
yeah, that's right. That's right. And so I just thought to myself, well, look, I'll have fun with it. And I said to the director, Jason, look, Jason, I'm a big boy. If I'm shite, just tell me.
Okay.
And I'll go home. It's like I've plenty of other things to be doing. And I did it, and we did it, and did another scene. And then by the afternoon, he just said, look, how do you fancy playing Oscar Wilde?
Great. Where should I look out for this?
So the next gig you can see is in London. We're at the Hammersmith Apollo. On the 29th
Amazing.
of March.
Lovely.
That's going to be lovely. Last time I was there, I saw Kate Bush.
Wow.
Amazing. So then it goes around England, Birmingham and Scotland. So have a look on Moonlight or my website.
And you're excited about this project?
Very much
yeah,
so.
Great.
Oh yeah, there's beautiful new songs in it, and there's tons of Thin Lizzy, and I get to have these great scenes with this amazing guy who plays Brendan Behan. So the idea that Philip Lynott dies at 36 tragically, I forgot how young he was.
Yeah.
But he doesn't go to heaven or hell. He goes to the land of the poets, where he meets Oscar Wilde and Brendan Behan.
Whoa!
And so, what's going on there? Why is that happening? You have to come and see why.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's really good.
Sounds
And I
fascinating.
get to the hairdo and everything, and the clothes and it's fun to play somebody else for a couple.
Well, it reached the end of our conversation,
Right.
And I want to tell you that during this time, we've talked about you've talked about some special Northern Ireland people, and I want to tell you, you're one of those.
Thank you so much.
You really are.
Lovely.
You really are, and you know, it's kind of inspired me just watching you on that simple,
amazing.
that simple, fun television program, and it was nothing to do with.
glad
It was
I
nothing.
did
It was nothing to do with your art. Nothing to do with
No.
the singing. Nothing to do with the fact that your career. It was just to do with you as a fucking human being. And I just, if it was Paddy from Galway, I would have gone.
Yeah.
Jesus, I want to get Paddy from Galway on my
Yeah.
podcast. But it just happened to be you.
And I honestly, I took my lead from David Bowie. Honestly, he literally just said, as an artist, you have to do something really scary at least once a
Okay,
year.
he did say that. He talked about going out
Yeah.
into the water.
Yeah.
So you walk out of the water, keep tippy-toeing out into the water until it's just over your nose, and then you're scared.
And I thought I would be scared to do that show, so I'm doing it.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
My pleasure.
And my thanks to Brian Kennedy for coming in and sharing his story with me. And thanks to all of you for listening to the podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, all I'll ask you to do is tell one other person about it. That Mario Rosenstock podcast isn't bad. You should give it a go. Give us a follow and a subscribe. And that would make our week. Thank you very much. See you same time, same place next week.